Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I look so tanned in this in this camera and new lighting setup. It's like I've been away. Hi. How is everyone? It is Monday. It's beginning of a week, another week. And I have your weekly dose of ghost stories that you have all sent me. If you want to send me your ghost stories, alien stories, weird experiences, maybe you found something in your car that your uncle left you, but your uncle's dead. You know what I mean. Send them right here. So you can send me audio recordings, you can send me a video recording, you can send me just a written version, whatever you are comfortable sharing with me and everyone who watches these videos. So I'm very excited because if you watched my what episode was it? I can't remember. I'll put it up here. I use a really cool product from a brand called Sheen, and they do these like UV glow liners, and they're absolutely incredible. They do pastels, they do like intense color as well. So I am doing a giveaway with them today, which is so incredible. I love doing giveaways for everyone. So the products I'm using were gifted to me from them, of course, but it's a product that I've used before and really, really liked. So they wanted to do a giveaway for you all. So they have provided me with all of their epic liners, their pastels, their bright colors as well. Also like a UV light torch so you can, you know, show the actual effect of a product, and some glitters as well. So I'm going to give them away for you guys, and I will leave the rules of the giveaway in the description box below. Okay, let's do this. So the cause of death for today's look is I wanted to do like just a really annoying child. You know those children where you're just like, listen, I know you have a trampoline in your garden, but it doesn't mean you need to scream. So that is today's theme. I already have my brows done. I already have my base done. I do just also want to show off. I'm going to do a video about this brand, but I do just have to show off this palette from Spoiled Lips because I know it'll be everyone's kind of thing watching. I bought one of their palettes ages ago and it was like a Ouija board planchette shape, and I was like, I have to buy that because it's a Ouija board thing. There's a cute little mirror inside, and they have all these amazing colours. Look at this, like black glitter. I love this brand. The quality of eyeshadow is absolutely incredible. So I'll do a video on the brand anyway, but I just wanted to show you this today because I know all of you watching would absolutely love this kind of thing. So, and do you know what? Yeah, it's purple. And what? What about it? Actually, did I do purple last week? Okay, so I kind of did purple last week. But this is going to be different because I'm using the Cool Mint Epic Liner. This is one of the pastel shades. Oh, they're both the pastel shades, actually. And I'm using the Orchid shade as well. So we're adding a bit of green and purple. Purple and green should never be seen except from Easter and Halloween. I think I made that up. Okay, so let's start with our first story. So our first story today was sent in via the emails, and it's called Sprinting Ghost. Hi. Hi, Robert. Love your channel. Thank you so much. When I was maybe 8 years old, we lived in a really old house in an acreage type setting. Classic ghost story setup, I know. I lived with my younger sister, who was 7, my dad, my stepmom, and my older stepbrother, who was 14, and sister. Me and my sister were only a year apart, so at that age, we shared a room. Now, almost every night, the 2 small dogs that my family had would somehow come inside the house, through the dog door, come into our room, and wake us up. Every night. Me and my sister would wake up from them jumping all over us and would take one each and walk down the hallway, through the kitchen and living room area space to the back door to try and shove them back through the dog door. This night was no different. As we cradled a dog each, we walked to the back door. My sister was sitting there trying to push one of the dogs back through as I was standing there holding the other one. Now this living area space that we had was huge, and we actually kind of converted a quarter of it into a bedroom space for my older stepbrother, because it was technically only a 3-bedroom house. While I was standing there, I looked over at my stepbrother sleeping in the corner of a room and noticed someone standing over him. Plain as day. Of course, this was at night and it just looked like a dark figure. I looked at it initially wondering what my dad or stepmom were doing up, checking on my brother. As I was about to yell out and check who it was, the figure looked up from the bed, spun towards me on the spot, as if it was on a hoverboard or something, not like it turned while stepping, and then raised its hand to point at me. Stop. Seeing it turn towards me, I could also see glowing yellowish eyes. I shit my pants. I dropped my dog, sorry pup, left my sister and bolted back for my room, tripping over an old pedestal fan in the process and cutting open my foot. Ouch. When I was in my room, I slammed the door behind me and hid under the covers. Obviously tripping over the fan, I woke up my stepbrother in the process, and both he and my sister came into the room to see what was happening. I told them what I saw, and obviously they didn't believe me, but offered to stay until I calmed down. Now they were both sitting on my sister's bed, looking at me, while I was just freaking out. It goes quiet for a moment, and then down the long hallway to the other side of the house, we hear someone very slowly walking with what sounded like boots or very solid shoes. I looked at them, and they looked at me, and I instantly started silently crying, thinking that there was a murderer in our house or something. We could hear footsteps coming slowly closer until it picked up the pace, practically running towards the end until it stopped right outside our closed door. The door wasn't closed, but it was shut most of the way until it was basically closed, if that makes sense. Yes. We were all dead silent, so scared. Suddenly, the door slowly swung open and then closed, and then opened and then closed, picking up the pace each time until it was practically flying open and shut. At this point, we started screaming, and my parents came rushing into our room, where the door conveniently stopped. We all told them in tears what happened, but they didn't believe us, and still don't believe us till this day. Of course, the ghost has to stop. As soon as the parents come in, ghost. That's just an asshole ghost being like, I'm gonna scare you and no one's gonna believe you. Yes, look at that colour. Okay, let's go for an audio one. Let's give me some time to think about what I'm doing. Okay, take it away, Sarah Jane.
Hey Robert, my name is Sarah. I'm from Ireland, just across the pond from you there. Hope you're doing well. You can probably hear the fan in the background here. I'm like yourself, boiling up, not used to this hot weather. Anyway, yeah, so my story is about it's just this mirror from my old house. I'm not in there anymore now. I've moved. I moved in March this year, thankfully, before the whole pandemic happened. But anyway, back in my old house there was a mirror. That was kind of, how do I even put this into words? So we were there. I was there for about 3 years, and this mirror. Is this even still recording? Hold on. This mirror was in our kitchen, so it was a big mirror, and I had it in the kitchen, and I was just cleaning the house one day, just doing it up, and I decided to take the mirror from the kitchen and put it into the sitting room over the fireplace. So I took this big thing down, like the mirror was huge now, it was big. So I took it down, brought it into the sitting room, hung it up over the fireplace, up on a nail, and it was like proper secured. And it was grand, it was happy days, house all clean, and I felt great, and you know how it is. So anyway, that happened, and it was fine, everything was good, and then one night, I was in bed. It was a work night or whatever, so I was in bed, and my partner was in the sitting room with the dog, and I was just lying there, and out of nowhere, I just, like, this, keep in mind, this was weeks later now, this is, I'd say, a good few months after I moved the mirror into the sitting room. So yeah, he was in the sitting room and I was in bed, and next thing I just heard this crash, and I was like, what the hell? So I jumped up out of bed, big angry head on me, because I was up in the morning for work, and I was like, what is going on, blah blah blah. So I went in, and he was like sitting there on the couch. My partner was just looking at the ground. The mirror was on the ground face down, and I was like, how did that happen? And he was like, I don't know, it just literally just came off the wall. So I was like, okay. So I picked it up, expected to be like, broke, smashed, because the noise of it falling off the ground. not one piece of glass was broke. The thing was just proper intact. So I was like, oh, okay. So I picked it up, put it back up in the fireplace, back up at the nail, made my way back into bed, and that was fine. Keep in mind, actually, it was weird. Now, when that fell, my dog was at the fireplace, asleep at the fire, but he moved like it was like, I don't know, my partner said he was there a few minutes before it fell. So if that mirror had fell down, it would have got the dog. But anyway, that's kind of irrelevant, but that happened. So yeah, anyway, moving forward, weeks later, again, it was just another few weeks. I was lying in bed and my partner was with me this time. And it comes back down, flying, just came off the fireplace. This time it smashed. So I ran in and yeah, as you know, the mirror was all over the place and glass and it was a whole mess. And I was, again, up for work the following morning. So I wasn't really happy cleaning up glass at like, I don't know, it was like 12 o'clock or something. So I picked up the mirror and it was like, oh, for God's sake. So whatever, that was done. Had to throw the mirror out, obviously, because it was broke. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So that happened. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Like, how did this just come back down off the wall? But I didn't really take much notice of it. I just thought it was weird. So that happened then. So yeah, that was the whole mirror side of things. So when that happened, moving on again a couple of weeks later, I was in the house again cleaning. Wasn't anywhere near the hallway. Like, I'd probably done the hallway, moved into different rooms to clean, and next thing I just hear a mirror, or not a mirror, sorry, that was already done. A picture on the wall came flying down. So I was like, what the hell? So I walked out and it was on the ground, and I was like, how the hell did that come down? So I was looking at it and I picked it up, and it was a picture of my cousin that passed away a few years ago. And I was like, okay, it's weird. So I put it back up on the wall. And there was all this weird vibe. I could just feel this weird heaviness, and I can't even just describe it. It was just weird. So that happened again. And yeah, so then I hate saying this out loud because anytime I talk about it, just I can picture it so much in my head and it freaks the life out of me. But I was in bed. 1 second now. My partner's going to walk in the room. No, I was in bed anyway, and it was dark and I was watching telly and my partner was beside me. Dog was in the bed and the door was open and it was dark outside, like in the hallway, so there wasn't a light on in the house. So I was lying there watching telly. Next thing I just turned, like, I didn't even see, I didn't turn my head, I just seen something on the corner of my eye, and I looked, just moved my eyes, just looked at the door, and I seen this face. Oh my God, this is making me feel sick. But I seen this face just looking, and it was like, you couldn't even tell, like, it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a real faded grey face, but the eyes, you couldn't see any eyes. They were like big holes. And this thing was smiling back at me. Now I could see a grin. It was like this creepy grin. Like, it was like something you'd see out of a movie. So I literally seen that. And I went, oh my God. And I just turned my head to look at my partner and put my hand up to the left side of my face. Right, where I have my hand covering my eyesight, my peripherals, so I couldn't see it. And the fear was unreal. I've never felt it. Do you know what it felt like? You know, when you're like literally say if you're on a roller coaster and you get to the very top of the roller coaster and you know it's going to drop. You know, that kind of fear. So yeah, sorry, I had to pause that for a second. Yeah, so that fear, it was like an all over, like my whole body just felt like, it was like, oh my God, I can't even describe it. That the best way I can describe it is like you're going up on a roller coaster and it's going to drop, and you know that fear you get, and it's like a real kind of exhilarating feeling. I don't know, but it was like that. But it was like that for a split second. Now I wouldn't even. It was like that. It wasn't. It felt like a split second. Like it happened for a split second, but at the same time, it felt like it went on for ages. I know that sounds really weird, but the fear, I've never, ever felt like that, anything like that in my life before. And the fact that I felt that and seen what I seen I can't even describe it. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Scariest thing I've ever felt in my life. And yeah, thankfully I'm out of that house now. I'm in a lovely home, and touch wood, nothing else has happened since then. So yeah, weird. Not really sure if it was my cousin. I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't think he would have, he'd want to frighten me like that. But it was either that or there was something that was trapped in that mirror. And I think whatever, by me moving that mirror from a different room, from a room, from room to room, whatever was in that, I wanted to get out. And I think that's why it fell. I think that's why it fell a couple of times. The first time it fell, it didn't smash, put it back up again, then it fell and it smashed. And then after that, that's when I seen the face and the thing in the picture in the hall. I don't know, it could be completely coincidental or whatever, but the face like that is something I just can't describe. So yeah, I just said I'd mention that. Hope you're well and look after yourself. Thanks. Bye.
That's terrifying. Here's my thing. Mirrors. By the way, there's no way I'm gonna get this symmetrical. I just did this without thinking, and now I'm gonna have to try and match up. Mirrors scare the hell out of me. If I'm in like a hotel or if I'm at someone's house and there's a mirror facing the bed, I can't have that mirror facing the bed. I'm gonna burp. They just terrify me so much. You're so right though. It sounds like maybe that mirror was there, like put in that specific place for a reason, and then it was almost like something was trying to get out of it. That's terrifying. Yeah, and like you said, I feel like maybe family would be less malicious. Why do I keep looking up there? Less malicious about haunting you. I think maybe they're trying not to scare you as much. But seeing a face grinning, can you imagine seeing a face grinning at you? That would be the last straw for me. I'll be like, everyone out, everyone pack your things, we're moving out right now. Terrifying. I love it. Thank you so much for sending that to me. I very, very much appreciate it. Let's do another audio one while I clean up my eye here. So I told you guys ages ago, I was like, because I want my reactions to these stories to be genuine, I don't read them. I have my brother sort them out, rewrite them for me, so I can read them properly, so I can read them better. He puts them in paragraphs and everything like that for me. And you all thought I meant my twin brother James, who I wasn't talking about. I was talking about our older brother. We have an older brother called Marcus, and he does this for me. And he is actually reading a story that was sent in today. So we are going to listen to those.
Hi Robert, here are 2 ghost stories for you. If you do hear thunder, that's because there is a storm. I haven't added in effects to create some atmosphere. It's really raining and dark outside, so I'm a bit worried one of these ghosts from these stories is coming to visit me because I'm reading out the story, but fingers crossed that doesn't happen. This first one's called The Girl in Pyjamas. About 5 years ago, my husband and I were renting an apartment across town from the house that I grew up in. We had someone who was staying with us for a few weeks, so we had decided to give them our room and we put a mattress down in the living room to sleep on. One night, we put the kids to bed and we stayed up watching TV for a while. It was about 1 a.m, and we decided to go to bed and shut everything off. But a few minutes later, my daughter came down the stairs and just sat on the bottom stair, not saying anything, staring into space. I noticed she had changed her pyjamas. I told her to get back into bed, and she did. I watched her turn around and walk back up the stairs, but a few minutes later she came back down again. It was the same thing. She just sat on the bottom stair, still and silent. I said to her, "What do you need? What's wrong? You need to get back to bed." I got off our mattress to go and see what she wanted, and it was at that point she got up and ran up the stairs faster than I've ever seen any human being run. I turned to my husband and asked him if he had saw her, and he had. We both went up the stairs as quick as possible to find my daughter in bed in a deep sleep. I had followed her up the stairs too quickly for her to just jump into bed and pretend without me seeing her. It was then I pulled back the covers to check, and she was still wearing her original pyjamas. The next morning we told our friend who was staying with us about what had happened. He told us that all night he kept hearing the sound of small feet running up and down the hallway, and that he even saw the shadow of feet under his door. He said he got up a few times to investigate, only to find the hallway empty. Right, that was scary, wasn't it? This next one's called Sign Your Name. I lived at my aunt's on and off for a couple of years. At first I found there to be an unexplainable feeling always lurking throughout the house. For instance, if I had to leave my room late at night to get a snack from the kitchen, I always felt I needed to run as fast as I could back up the stairs. My body would cover with goosebumps, and I just felt the presence of someone staring at me, ready to drag me down the stairs by my ankles. My heart would pound, but I'd always just tell myself it's in my head. One day I got home after work, and every time I finish work, I'm always home alone for a while. I began my routine of a shower after work. I had my shower, got out and wrapped myself in a towel. In one swoop, I turned off a light with one hand and reached for the door handle with the other. But when I went to twist the handle, to my surprise, it was locked. I got the same feeling of fear overcome my body, and I began to fumble with the lock, worried that no one would be home for hours. I got it unlocked from the inside and sprinted to my room, feeling like someone was chasing me the whole way. Some weeks later, I was having trouble sleeping. I was having nightmares often, and always tried to brush them off and go back to sleep. But something about one dream felt like I was awake. It began as a voice calling out my name in a dark wood, which I followed all the way to a cabin. The cabin was pitch black, except for a tiny flickering light in the basement. I began to follow the light all the way down a rickety staircase and through a hallway. The light was actually just one room containing a podium with one book. A voice began telling me to open it. I did, and flipped through page after page of ineligible text until the first blank one appeared. The ominous voice then began to tell me to sign the page. In cursive letters, I wrote my name. Suddenly I woke up unable to move, and the only light I could see was a blue screen on my TV. My eyes spun around the room and I tried to scream. It felt as if hours went by, and I began to see my TV flicker. It looked like someone was pulling a magnet across the screen. I closed my eyes and kept them as tight as I could, praying whatever was happening would stop. I opened my eyes and saw a black figure in my closet. My face was wet with tears, and my whole body began to shake. The figure began to reach towards me with a long black arm. It started extending and stretching all the way across the room until it was centimetres from my forehead. I even felt my skin start to burn with a fiery heat, and then in a deep voice it whispered, "You're mine." It disappeared, and I lay speechless, crying in my bed, until I had to go to work at 7 a.m, too afraid to go back to sleep. I slept with the light on for weeks after that. Thanks for reading. I love you and your channel so much. Stay spooky.
Well, thank you so much for reading those, Marcus. That was great. Thank you. I'm giving up trying to get this liner symmetrical. First of all, kids, no. I wonder if there's a way to bring up your children so they don't become haunted or possessed. Can you imagine if that was like commonplace, that kids got like possessed and haunted and people are just like, well, that's bad parenting. That's what happens when you don't get your kids vaccinated. Now here's a little trick for symmetry if you're doing your own makeup or even anyone else's. And a little trick that I didn't follow just now. This is the eye that I can't do very well myself, and this is the one I can do. So I should have started with this one and then matched this one because I can match better. But you know what? We're just having fun. Okay. So next up, I'm going to read Stalked, Haunted, or Both. Actually, let me just whack this glitter on and then I can carry on. So I'm taking the glitter in Pride from Shein, which is this cute kind of, breath, which is like this cute kind of purpley blue. Actually, let me use it on a tissue. Okay, that's not how I wanted that to look, but fine, whatever. So it says, I'm new to your channel and discovered your ghost stories and makeup. I have an incredibly creepy story that I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for sending it. Nearly 5 years ago, I ended an abusive relationship and moved 300 miles away back to my hometown to get a fresh start. I ended up renting a home from a family friend, and shortly after moving in, I started experiencing some strange things. I constantly felt as if somebody was watching me. I would get chills and things would be out of place, and my dog would bark and growl for no apparent reason. I brushed this off as a settling period, and that everything would eventually work itself out. One evening, I was washing the dishes and had the TV on in the background. I started to feel like I was being watched, and as I turned to look out the window, in the kitchen, oh my god, don't. I noticed a young man, maybe 18 or 19, standing in the garden, looking into my home. I lived on a large plot of land and a fairly remote part of town, so seeing someone was unexpected. I immediately shut the tap off and called for my dog. When I looked up, the boy was gone. At this point, I'm thinking I have a home intruder. I open the back door slightly and yell, "I called the police and they are on their way. You need to leave or I am going to release my dog." I don't hear or see anything. I double check all of my windows and doors and grab my phone. All of a sudden, my dog bolts upstairs and starts barking at my bedroom door, which is closed. She is absolutely losing her mind and ready to attack. I grab my dog, run into the bathroom, barricade myself in there, and call the police. Within a minute or so, my dog stops barking, and the police arrive within 10 minutes and inspect my home and yard. They don't find a trace of a young man I reported seeing. It had been raining earlier that day, and they couldn't find any visible tracks around my yard. They ended up leaving and told me to call if I had any other incidences. I didn't experience anything else that night. A few days after this happened, I contacted a family member and told them my story and said I didn't feel safe there anymore. They jokingly said, "Are you sure it wasn't Ryan trying to have a peek at you?" When I asked what they meant, they said to me, "You know Ryan, the foster child the landlord, raised. You know he was always getting in trouble for this sort of stuff when he was alive. Breaking into homes, following girls at the school. I had been living away for the previous 5 years, but our family friends had a number of foster children in and out of a home, one of whom had passed away while I was gone." I asked a few different people and they all said the same thing. They said he was pretty disturbed and had gotten into a lot of trouble around town, involving break-ins and stalking. I'm not sure if this incident was really a haunting from this kid, but it was enough to make me move a few weeks later. Absolutely, I would move too. Sorry, the lighting keeps really changing. It is crazy. This foundation is the one I use in every single one of my videos. And as soon as the lighting changes with a black backdrop behind me, it looks so dark. Haunted makeup is the only explanation. That is insane. I would consider that a haunting. If somebody was standing in my gut, that's one of my bigger fears. Mirrors, antique furniture, children, butterflies, looking up out a window and seeing someone stare back at me, especially a garden. Because it's like, that's still your property, but it's like part of your property you can't control, you know? Okay, shall we another story?
Hey, Robert. So I've got a story, and I don't know if anyone can make sense of it, but I haven't been able to, and I'm in my 30s, and this happened when I was around probably 7 or 8 years old. I think maybe 8. My younger brother and I used to live, or sleep in the basement, rather. That's where our bedrooms were. And my youngest brother was about a year at that point. So he was still sleeping in the crib, wasn't walking around, wasn't crawling, and he was upstairs. And I still get freaked out when I tell the story. So one night I'm trying to sleep, and I can't sleep. It's taking me a while, so I'm tossing and turning, but I'm definitely awake. And all of a sudden I hear footsteps, which would totally be normal because my parents can absolutely come downstairs to our bedroom, but it was teeny tiny little, like, rushing steps, but really light. But they were definitely footsteps. They were coming down the stairs because I heard them coming closer and closer. Then I hear them walking towards my bedroom. Light steps, slowly walking into my bedroom, and I could feel something in the middle of the room, feet away from my bed. And then breathing. I was terrified. I was frozen. That whole your hair standing up on your neck, that cold sweat. It's real. That happens. And it just kept breathing and breathing. I got under the covers as tightly as I could, and I just willed it away, or wanted it to go away so badly. It just stood there breathing, and then finally just stopped. It was, and still remains, the creepiest thing I have ever experienced. It was all pretty quick, but really, like, I can, you feel like there's a person in the room. I felt that person in the room. Whatever the person whatever that was, it felt like a tiny little being, and it was running as fast as it could down those stairs, slowed down, and just started breathing in the middle of my room. Ugh. I hope you enjoyed it because it creeps me out, but thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that one.
Oh my god, thank you so much for sending that in. What would you do? What would you do if something just started breathing at you? And what if you had seen it? I wonder what it would have looked like. Thank you so much. That was very well told and very frightening. So I'm going to stick on some lashes and we're going to listen to one more audio. Here we go.
Hello, Robert. I hope you're doing amazing and staying safe. My name is Sarah. I'm from Syria, but obviously I don't live there. I haven't been there actually in almost 12 years now, and I'm 21, so half of my life. So I want to tell you about a story I experienced back in Syria when I was around 8 or 9. We used to go there with my family for a vacation every summer, and we didn't stay for long, maybe a few weeks. Most of the weeks are spent visiting families, people I don't even remember or know, but they suddenly know me. So my grandmother lived in this very, 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 very old building. It was a really small building, apartment. It was 3 floors. It had a basement, which looked terrifying. Never dared to go there. I barely looked at it. And somebody lived in the basement. I don't know who. Never saw them, actually. And the first floor has 3 doors, one to the right and one in the middle and one to the left. So my grandmother lives in the middle apartment, and the door to the left is where my oldest uncle from my dad's side lived there, and he lived there for more than 10 years with his family. He had 2 sons and a daughter, middle daughter, and his wife passed away in that apartment. So for the background, she was using a thermometer, a really old one, and it had I forgot what it's called, but it had a chemical inside of it. I'm sure you know what is it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just completely forgot about it. And the thermometer broke inside of her mouth, and she swallowed the chemical, and it caused her to die. So I never met her. She passed away a really long time ago, and I know how she looks like from pictures and from stories people tell. So that's the background. So that day when we came, my father suggested that we stay at my uncle's apartment, the door to the left, and we didn't have enough bedrooms because it had only 2 bedrooms, and my parents took the main bedroom and my older sister took the other one. So, and my little brother slept with my parents. So my dad was like, you can switch between you and your sister each day, and every day one of you sleeps in the bedroom and other one sleeps in the living room. So the first day, I lost. I was playing something with my sister and I lost, and I got to sleep in the living room. So for context, the living room had all old furniture. It was like a museum. It was a very small apartment, and the biggest sofa in the apartment was facing a long, huge window that you could see the street. and it was really cold in Syria. So I remember we usually don't have ACs. Sometimes they use fans, but ACs aren't a big thing there. So I left my window open because the view looked really nice and the weather was good. And I had my sheets and pillow and the usual, and I put my head the other side of the window so I could look at it, and I was falling asleep normally like an 8-year-old, nothing interesting. And then, you know, when you are in the state between sleeping and being awake, so I was drifting to sleep, feeling this phase, and then I felt a person grabbing my ankle, and I moved a bit. It scared me and it woke me up. It was a very calm, soft touch, but it's still scary. It didn't have like any scary vibes or anything. It was very calming. And then I somehow fell back to sleep. So again, I was drifting back to bed, and I felt this hand on my shoulder, and I heard a woman saying, "Don't be afraid." And then she said my name. So she said, "Don't be afraid, Sarah." And I felt really, really calm. I felt really, really calm. And a breeze of air came. And I looked at my window, it was closed because of the wind earlier. So the breeze of air that I felt was not from the window. I did not comprehend this whole thing as like a spirit and my uncle's wife watching over me. It was just a very scary experience for me. So later that day, I fell asleep normally, didn't see anything. I later that day told my dad about what happened, and my uncle was there. So my uncle teared up, and my dad was really shocked. He thought that I was just being a child, and my uncle told me, "I think that's my wife, and she's at the house where she passed away." And he told me this whole story of her, how she passed away. I did not know anything about her death. I barely knew how she looked like, and I sometimes forget about her. Like, I forget about her passing away and all that because I was 8. Why would I care? And to that day, it's the most vivid experience I've had, but it's not a malicious, scary one, and it still comforts me to know that I could find her when I pass away or go to the other side or anything. So that's my experience. Thank you so much, and I love your videos. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how you weren't scared. I sometimes wonder if like ghosts or people who visit us have a choice of what kind of impression they give off. Like, do I want to be scary? Do I want to give a calming impression? Am I trying to give this person like a peaceful experience? It's really strange because if that happened to me, that's another thing I'm scared of. Is I sleep with one leg out of a duvet because I'm always hot. I always need like air. And I'm always scared that something's going to grab my ankle, grab my foot, like tickle my foot or something like that. So to actually have that happen, I wouldn't be too happy. Thank you so much for sending that in. So this is our finished, I'm a child. I have been screaming on the trampoline all day, and my parents are unaware that we have neighbours, So it just got to a point where I just jumped and screamed so much that my head just blew up. And this is how I chose my kid makeup to look. I don't know, it's a bit far-fetched. That is all our stories today. I just want to show you the finished look with blue light and how these liners really stand out. They're so fun to play with. I was going to use a purple one, but then I didn't want to mess up the lines that I made. So I just didn't in the end. But they're so fun to play with, such so easy to use. I use like one spray of water or one spray of like a mist, a hydrating mist, and just use my brush in them. And they dry really quickly, so you don't have to worry too much about transfer, only if you use like too much water. I'm going to leave all the instructions for the giveaway in the description box below. Please follow them step by step. So you will win all these incredible liners, all these amazing glitters as well. They're so much fun to use, so much fun to kind of experiment and play with color. I hope you love them as much as I do. Thank you so much again for joining me. Like I said, if you have any weird experiences, ghosty experiences, just experiences, then go ahead and send them here to this email address. Whether you want to read it out yourself, send me a video of yourself, or just write it out for me. I'm more than happy to receive either format. Thank you again. Thank you for joining me. I will see you Wednesday. Have an amazing week ahead. Take care of yourself. Don't be haunted, or do. You know, that's not up to you actually. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you very soon. Bye.